So next is Samantha Schwartz from the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. And Samantha, your fun facts are perhaps the most wide-ranging of our finalists. You're a Bavarian folk dancer.
Yep.
You can recite all English and British monarchs in order starting from the year 1066.
Yep.
And you have met Buddy Valastro, the cake boss.
Mm-hmm. In the flesh.
That is difficult to compete with. Samantha, are you ready?
Yep.
Ready, set, pitch.
Hi, everyone. I love neuroscience. But looking at my slide, you might be thinking, what do zebras have to do with neuroscience and kids? And I'd answer that question with another question. If you were to hear a stampede of hoofbeats, what kind of animal would you expect to see? Probably a horse, right? When making diagnoses of their patients, medical professionals are often taught not to expect a zebra when they hear hoofbeats. In other words, they look for a more common answer, like a horse. The zebra is the official mascot of rare disease patients who are often overlooked or misdiagnosed. But did you know that 1 in 10 Americans is actually a zebra? Tying this back to neuroscience, my research studies rare disorders of the brain that primarily affect children. These disorders arise from genetic mutations, and they cause our brain cells, or neurons, to lose their communication with each other. Think of our neurons as playing a big game of telephone. When information gets interrupted or misunderstood, then the whole message in the brain is lost. This is essentially what happens in kids like Jordan and Wyatt and Finley, who have these disease mutations, and it results in them suffering from seizures, developmental delays, and movement disorders. In extreme cases, it can even result in death. So in the lab, I grow both healthy and mutant cells in dishes, and I use a fun and super easy technique called cell-attached voltage patch clamp electrophysiology, which just means that I poke and zap the cells all day. I look at the smallest level of activity between the healthy and mutant cells to see where things are going wrong. Then I do my experiments all over again with neurons living happily in a mouse brain that have the same mutations as human patients. I stimulate the neurons, I listen to them play telephone, and from this information, I can see how the mutations are impacting brain function at a cellular level. The final part of my thesis is to add drugs and see if they can rescue mutant cell activity, basically to see if I can make them deliver the right message in their telephone game. My research has 2 main goals. The first is to raise awareness for these rare brain disorders. A lot of time, money, and resources go into treating the horses or more common diseases, but that doesn't mean we should overlook the rare ones because these patients are suffering too. Their voices should not get drowned out in a whole sea of cancer cures and heart disease treatments, and it's up to us to make sure their voices are also heard. The second goal is to help identify new treatment options for these kids. A lot of the current market drugs that are prescribed to them aren't that effective because they have more generalized effects. The drugs I'm testing would get to the root of the problem because they directly target the mutated cells. Now, these drugs are still experimental and can't be prescribed to patients yet. But if I can show that they have promise when being tested in the lab, then that's an important first step in getting these kids more viable treatment options. Because ultimately, this is who we're doing this all for. Kids like AJ and Maddie and Caitlin, they are our zebras, and we want to improve their quality of life by having their brains play telephone